Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going deep on something pretty fascinating based on what you sent us. This concept of Sankalpa.
Oh, yeah.
You might have come across this term before, maybe in like a yoga class or something.
Right.
But it's way more than just your typical goal setting,
Yeah.
Like, think of it as this like really deeply rooted intention, almost like a seed of, your deepest desires that's planted inside you. And it's interesting because the word itself, Sankalpa, comes from Sanskrit.
Okay.
And san means like connection with truth,
Yeah.
the highest part of ourselves. And then kalpa refers to will or idea or resolution.
Ah.
So from the very beginning, like the roots of the word itself, Sankalpa points to something, really powerful.
Yeah.
It's not just any old intention. It's like a sacred resolution, a commitment that's lined up with, your truest self.
That's a great way to put it. And what I think is so fascinating is just how ancient this idea is. Like, your research traces it back to those Vedic texts, the Upanishads specifically, and those emerged way back, between 800 and 200 BCE.
Wow.
I mean, that's a really long time for a concept to stick around.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just some abstract philosophy either. It was a part of like everyday rituals and practices in Hinduism.
Right.
We see it pop up again later in yoga texts, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And that really shows how important intention is for spiritual growth.
Absolutely. It's like the foundation, right?
Exactly.
So for our deep dive with you today, we really want to understand Sankalpa, like its meaning and why it matters.
Yeah.
And most importantly, how is it different from the way we think about goals and intentions in the West,
Right.
We want to give you some practical insights that you can actually use in your own life.
I love it.
So let's dive in. Let's start with like what Sankalpa really means.
Yeah, let's get to the heart of it. So at its core, a Sankalpa is like a powerful affirmation,
Okay.
Not just a fleeting thought, but something that comes from a place where your head and your heart are totally in sync. It's all about aligning your thoughts and your actions with what you feel is your higher purpose.
I like that. So it's not just about what you're doing, it's about like why you're doing it.
Exactly. Aligning with that deeper why.
And that's what makes it so different from like just wanting things or setting everyday goals, right?
Right.
Because the research you sent over emphasizes that Sankalpa isn't about what you're lacking or, some empty space you're trying to fill.
Right.
It's about recognizing the potential that's already there inside you.
Totally. It's like it's already there. You just got to tap into it.
Exactly. And, how you phrase a Sankalpa is super important.
Yes, this is key.
It's always in the present tense.
Always.
It's not about who you want to be in the future,
Right.
but who you are becoming right now.
Yes. Like instead of saying, I want to be more patient,
Yeah.
the Sankalpa is, I am patient and understanding in every situation.
Right.
It's a statement of what's real now, even if it doesn't fully feel that way yet.
Yeah, you're speaking it into existence. And that leads to something else really important, right?
Yeah.
A Sankalpa comes from a place of certainty.
Absolutely.
It's not about struggling or forcing something to happen. It's an inner knowing.
Exactly. A deep knowing. And this is where it gets super interesting when you look at how Sankalpa shows up in spiritual practices like yoga.
Right.
It plays a big part.
Okay.
For example, Yoga Nidra, which is that really relaxing guided meditation.
Yeah.
During that deep state of relaxation, you repeat your Sankalpa in your mind. It's almost like planting a seed in your subconscious.
Like you're bypassing all the noise and chatter of your everyday thoughts.
Exactly. It's like you're speaking directly to the deepest part of yourself.
Yeah. And it's not just Yoga Nidra either. The material you shared also talks about how it's used in regular meditation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It acts as that guiding intention to keep you focused during your practice, and it strengthens your resolve.
It helps you stay on track and strengthens that inner commitment. And it's not just in these individual practices either. You see Sankalpa in those ancient Vedic rituals too.
Oh, wow.
Like the Brahmin priests, those were the priestly class in that tradition. They would say Sankalpa out loud to make the purpose of the ritual super clear before it even began. Like setting the intention for the whole thing right from the start.
I see.
And then on a more personal level, you can use Sankalpa every day, like a personal mantra, to keep yourself positive and stay committed to your own growth. The research you provided even mentions Santivandanam.
Yeah.
It's a Hindu ritual that uses Sankalpa and this idea of japa Sankalpa, which is the intention behind chanting. Just shows how important and enduring this concept really is.
Wow. So we're talking about something that's like woven into the fabric of ancient wisdom.
Totally.
It's not just some passing trend.
Not at all. It's deeply rooted.
Now let's talk about how Sankalpa is different from how we usually set goals in the West.
Yeah, let's compare and contrast. This is a really key point.
Okay.
Because a lot of times in Western culture, we focus on willpower and effort when it comes to reaching our goals.
Right, like, I will go to the gym 3 times a week.
Exactly. New Year's resolutions are a classic example. We think we have to push and fight our way to get what we want.
Grit our teeth and just get it done.
Yeah, it can feel like a battle sometimes.
Right. But Sankalpa is different, isn't it?
It is. It's almost the opposite. It comes from that deep inner certainty we were talking about before. Instead of saying, I will exercise more, a Sankalpa might be, my body is strong and healthy.
Yeah.
It's like you're stating that as a truth already present within you.
Right. You're not focusing on the struggle. You're focusing on the desired outcome.
Precisely. The change comes from within, from that inner knowing.
And that makes me wonder, how does this ancient Eastern idea connect with what we know in Western psychology?
That's a great question. And your research actually points out some really interesting parallels.
Okay.
For instance, it mentions this idea of autoprogrammation positiva, which is very similar to NLP or neuro-linguistic programming.
Right.
It's a way of understanding and changing our patterns of thought and behavior. And the idea is that by repeating positive affirmations, we can actually rewire our brains. We're essentially shaping our reality through our self-talk.
That's powerful.
It is. And we also see connections to creative visualization, which is used a lot in therapy. The idea is that if you can clearly imagine what you want, it helps to make it a reality.
Right. You create this mental blueprint for what you want to achieve.
Exactly. And even in Western mindfulness, setting an intention before you meditate is kind of like setting a Sankalpa.
Right. So even though the words and techniques might be different, this idea of focused intention and positive self-affirmation, it seems to be universal, doesn't it?
It does. It's a common thread that runs through different cultures and approaches. But now I think it's time we step back and look at Sankalpa from a broader philosophical view.
Yeah, because your research really goes deep into this.
It does. And one of the things that struck me is how many different definitions there are for Sankalpa in Sanskrit.
Okay.
Like one of your sources says it can mean a conception or idea in the mind, or a solemn vow, or desire, intention, will. It's a very rich concept.
Wow, so it encompasses like the entire spectrum of our inner world.
Exactly. From those fleeting thoughts to our deepest commitments.
Right. And the material also talks about the practical side of Sankalpa as the point to do or achieve, that first step to increase our potential.
Yes, it's about consciously directing our willpower. It's not just some vague idea. It's that spark that initiates action.
And then your research takes us even deeper, connecting Sankalpa to the creation of reality itself.
Right. It mentions the Rig Veda and this concept of Maya, which is often translated as illusion. But it's more than just that. It also represents the power of will that the gods use to create the world.
Oh, wow.
It's a fundamental creative energy.
So you're saying that our experience of reality is actually rooted in this power of intention.
That's what the Rig Veda suggests.
That's pretty mind-blowing. And then your research goes on to explore related terms like Havana, which means feelings and imagination, and Kalpana and Vikalpa, which refer to the mind and the power of creative thought.
Yes, it's all interconnected, isn't it?
It really is.
All these different aspects of our inner world working together.
So the key takeaway here is that Sankalpa is more than just wishful thinking, right?
Way more. It's the will to do, the idea that sets things in motion.
Right.
It's that creative energy that pushes us toward our goals.
Yeah.
One of your sources even quotes, "I will be decisive. I will be whole heart. My growth is certain. I know I will make mistakes, but I will get up and continue." It's that attitude of commitment and action that really brings Sankalpa to life.
And then the research you shared goes on to present this other perspective from Indian philosophy, which is even more complex.
It is, and it's fascinating, because your source points out that Sankalpa has been defined in so many ways, even as a great deception, or a disease, or desire and anger, or even time and space.
Wow. So this powerful force, it can be the source of both creation and suffering.
That's what some schools of thought believe. It's all about how we use this power.
Right. And then there's that conversation between Rama and the sage Vasishta, where Sankalpa is seen as thought itself, the imagination of pleasure and pain that leads to desire and aversion.
Yeah, and the sage says that we have to destroy this Sankalpa to free our minds and end suffering.
So even positive intentions can hold us back if we're not careful.
That's a very interesting point. It's a reminder that we need to be aware of our thoughts and intentions and make sure they're truly aligned with our highest good. And then the research you provided takes us to the Chandogya Upanishad, where it talks about will being greater than mind.
Right. And it tells this story about Sanat Kumara teaching Narada.
Yeah, it's an important teaching about how intention influences everything we do. The Upanishad says, will is truly greater than mind. When one wills, then one thinks, then one utters speech, then one utters a name. In the name, mantras become one, and in the mantras, actions become one.
So essentially it's saying that our will, our sankalpa, is the driving force behind our thoughts, words, and actions.
Exactly. It's that seed of creation.
And it's not just in the Upanishads. The material you shared also talks about how sankalpa is used in yoga practice beyond Yoga Nidra.
Oh, absolutely. It's considered a crucial step in any kind of spiritual discipline. It's like setting your compass before you start a journey.
Right. And there's even a specific hand gesture, the Sankalpa Mudra, that's believed to help cultivate confidence and determination.
Yes, it's a way of physically embodying that inner resolve. And when we go back to Yoga Nidra, the material emphasizes that repeating a Sankalpa isn't just a mental exercise. It's like a call to awaken and a way to direct our energy through the chakras, those energy centers in the body.
So it's a more holistic practice than just setting a mental goal.
Definitely. It's about aligning your mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
So with all this in mind, how can our listeners create their own sankalpas? Your research gives some really clear and practical advice.
Yes, it does. And it all starts with taking some time for quiet reflection.
Exactly. You need to ask yourself, what do I truly want? Not just on a superficial level, but what aligns with my deepest values and aspirations.
Right. It's about getting clear on what truly matters to you.
Once you have that clarity, the next step is to phrase your sankalpa in a positive and affirmative way, always in the present tense.
Right. Like, I trust myself and life.
Exactly. You're stating it as a truth that's already unfolding.
Then you repeat your sankalpa during moments of relaxation or meditation when your mind is more receptive.
Yes, like planting that seed in fertile ground.
And perhaps the most important step is to really believe that this intention is already part of your reality, that it's becoming real as you practice it.
It's about cultivating that trust and faith in the process.
And as your research points out, a sankalpa isn't a forceful command. It's more like planting a seed and nurturing it with care, allowing it to naturally blossom in its own time.
Exactly. It's a gentle but powerful practice.
So to sum it all up, our deep dive into this concept has shown us that Sankalpa is this incredibly powerful tool for personal growth and transformation.
It's an ancient practice with deep roots in Eastern wisdom, and it offers a unique perspective on intention and manifestation that's different from what we often see in the West.
Right. It's not about willpower or struggle, but about tapping into our inner potential and aligning ourselves with our deepest truth.
And it has these fascinating connections to Western psychology, suggesting that the power of intention is something that's recognized across cultures and disciplines. So here's a final thought for you to consider. Given everything we've explored, how might shifting your focus from external achievements to inner resolve change your experience of personal growth and the manifestation of your desires? It's a question worth pondering.
It is. And with that, we wrap up another deep dive. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.
And may your sankalpas guide you on your journey.